And we're off. Okay, hello. Welcome to Talking Tennis. It's me, Jack, from _Jack on Twitter, on the line, all that jazz. Go look it up on YouTube. Today I'm joined by Mr. Tom Grant. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm very well, Jack. The sun was shining here in Glasgow. It's a
For
bit
a short
overcast now,
while. Yeah.
but it looks much better in Madrid. So I kind of wish I was there. Getting a tan while watching a bit of good tennis.
Yeah, sorry, by the way, for our spectators, we've not got any John Silk subtitles. It's two Glaswegians today, so we'll try and go nice and slowly for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, you should be able to keep up. Today, we're doing a little bit of commentary on Maria Sakkari's match versus Paula Badosa. Have you seen any of them so far, Tom? I'm used to John
Um,
on the other side. Sorry,
yeah.
Tom.
No, I watched Badosa's an impressive win against Coco Gauff in the previous round, and it's been a tough year for her.
Yeah,
She's a wee bit down the rankings now, but I think at this time last year when she was in Madrid, she was about number 2 in the world. So it's been a tough year,
yeah.
and so no, I was quite impressed by the win against Coco Gauff. It makes this match a lot closer than I maybe would have thought if you'd have said to me maybe a couple of weeks ago that these two were facing each other at this stage in Madrid. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the prevailing narrative after that match was Coco Gauff is going to paw our top 10 records terrible, etc., etc. But a little bit of credit for Badosa. I mean, she's playing good tennis again. Honestly, a lot of that comes down to, for me, the amount of time she has on the ball when she's on a clay court. You know, she's a different beast on this surface. The weight of the ball, I think a lot of people talk about off Badosa's strings on this surface is particularly hard to combat. And as you say, number 2 in the world last year, that was for a reason. I mean, she got so far in Madrid. I'm pretty sure she got to the semis there. Was it quarters a couple of years ago at the French? Maybe she didn't do so well last year. I'm
I
saying
think
that.
I think last year there was good runs for Badosa in Indian Wales and Miami, if you remember. So I don't know if there's maybe an element of the fact that she's not defending those points anymore. She maybe felt the kind of pressure at that stage, and now that those points are gone, she's now coming to the clay court season. She's probably a wee bit looser, a little freer. The pressure's off a little bit, that's maybe why most of our matches have been won this season since the start of April. So that tells itself in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just looking at a few of the wins, I think the one against Coco Gauff was probably the most impressive for me,
Yeah,
but a little bit under the radar. Obviously, Kasatkina's not been having the best year this year, but she absolutely thumped Kasatkina in Stuttgart 6-1, 6-1, and lost against Sabalenka after winning the first set. That, I think, is probably the most telling loss, I guess, or the most telling match for me. If she can hang with Sabalenka on this surface, especially in Stuttgart where the serve is also a little bit important, she can hang with anybody. And really, I would be tempted to call her the favourite for this match, Tom. I don't know if you agree.
Well, no, pre-match, Jack. I did have a think about it, obviously ahead of the thing. I'm probably going to go with Sakkari in 3, just because there's still a kind of doubt over Badosa in terms of she's been carrying a little bit of an injury. I know in our second round match that there was questions about her fitness. So although Sakkari, as I say, I know it's about to start off, but she hasn't had the best of seasons either. But I'm just going for Sakkari in 3.
Sakkari's had a weird season. I think a lot of people instantly want to go, there's not much to write home about there. But actually, the semis in Indian Wells was super impressive. And she got a lot of good wins there. There was the free set one against Kvitova, who obviously ended up going on to win Miami. Pliskova as well, who's again playing pretty underrated tennis. Bottom line, Tom, if she's winning this, as you say, it's going to have to be in 3. It's been a gritty year for her with a few underrated wins, but there's still a lot of nerves in some of the bigger moments. The forehand's still a little bit ropey every so often. If Sakkari wins, she wins it in 3. If Badosa wins, it could be 2 for me. It could be 3. It depends how she's playing, to be honest, because I think Badosa at the moment might have the higher peak.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think we're just getting kicked off now, right? Are you just watching the first point there, Tom?
I'm actually just on the point 2 now. So it's just Sakkari going wide with a forehand.
There you go. Commentator's curse. I imagine that could be a telling shot. It always is in a Sakkari match. I think it's such a good forehand. She can take advantage, or she can dominate the match from start to finish with it. Or what's more likely to happen is it'll be peaks and troughs, and we'll see a lot of loose errors from it as she constantly wrestles with it throughout the match. Interesting to see how it goes. Badosa winning another 3 points to go 30 love up at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, an impressive start by Badosa, and it might be kind of going towards your pre-match prediction. But yeah, once Sakkari gets on to serve, we can maybe have a better understanding of exactly where this match is going to go.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of analytical thoughts just as we're getting the match started. A lot of people kind of knock Badosa for the amount of shots she directs down the middle of the court. This rally right now is quite telling, actually, as Badosa skies a backhand unforced error. She does like to go heavy through the middle of the court, sort of stop her opponent getting as many angles as they would like until the short ball gets coughed up, and then she goes big. So she can look a little look a little bit like she's not really doing much at all. And it works on some surfaces. It doesn't work on others. As you see, Indian Wells is definitely in her wheelhouse where the ball's a little bit slower. But when she gets a bit rushed, it doesn't look quite as pretty. And honestly, there's been a lot of surfaces this year where the conditions are quick, they are fast. I think Badosa's still got that game in her to take advantage of this match here.
Yeah, I mean, I just in terms of Sakkari, I for whatever reason, I always kind of associate Sakkari with a clay court. I mean, I remember watching, I think it was on Jabeur. I always actually thought that was in Madrid when I think back, but I think it was maybe not exactly where it was last year, where they faced in the final, and but like you say, I think Sakkari is probably more dangerous as Indian Wells shows on a hard court.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, as you say, sometimes clay courts as well. The French Open run comes to mind. I'm sure Sakkari fans listening at the moment probably don't want to hear about this because it's probably the most heartbreaking moment of her career so far. That French Open semi where she had a match point.
Yeah,
she could have went the whole way. Yeah, that was brutal, and it's turned her semi-final record into a pretty poor one since. It wasn't great before then, but I think she admitted herself there was a little bit of scarring from that match, so it's taken a long time to get over. And there's still been ups and downs. And honestly, there's probably been more downs than ups, despite the fact she's been in the top 10. An interesting take for you here, Tom. A little bit of a tangent in some ways. But Sabalenka, I feel, was in a similar boat to Sakkari up until this year. She was always winning like big matches, but also losing big matches every so often. A lot of those sort of mental demons coming in the form of her serve. For Sakkari, it comes in the form of her forehand, yet she still grinds out all these crazy wins. She's still got a really good level. I think there's potential for Sakkari to get into she might have been in the top 5. She has, in fact, but deservedly. So, do you know what, Tom? Win a title is what that's what people want to hear, obviously. I think there's the potential for her to win a title because that's what she wants.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the titles are the big kind of missing part of the Sakkari jigsaw. And just to kind of, you mentioned Sabalenka, it's been quite a phenomenal start to the year for Sabalenka, the way she dominated in Australia, and it was a great final there. But yeah, Sakkari, the one thing that's missing, it's just one key element is turning these. Also, she doesn't want to become that tennis nearly person. Do you know what I mean? Where goes down in history as somebody who was always the kind of the runner-up, the bridesmaid, and never the bride. Just that element of turning these nearly chances into actual title wins is the one element. And I think once she gets like the first few, I know she has won titles before, but once she gets a couple more under her belt, I think that will build the confidence.
Absolutely, yeah. It's brutal to say, but she is at the moment. She is that nearly person. I think that's fair to say. And Sakkari knows it. She's wrestling with it. She's a lovely player, lovely person. I'm not knocking her, but that's just the reality. She wants to go on better.
You might have caught, Jack. I was a bit hesitant when I was about to say that there, just in case Sakkari fans might have started going, "Who is this guy? He's attacking her." But like I say, there's been many tennis players, men and women in history, who you kind of go down and you remember them reaching loads of finals but not winning a lot of titles. And I just fear that Sakkari at this moment in time, could become that kind of another one to that list.
Absolutely, it's not an unfair thing to say. One thing there, just watching the Sakkari second serve kicking high to the Badosa backhand. That's a great attack from Sakkari. It's something in her locker. She's got that variety. I remember in Guadalajara able to use that on the way to the final. Of course, one of the few finals she's had in the last couple of years. It was such a good shot, and it's particularly effective when you're playing at altitude, just like Guadalajara. Madrid, very, very high altitude. The ball will kick super high look out for it, because in the ad court, I think it will win her a lot of free points. And that's nice and repeatable. It's nothing to do with nerves. She doesn't have to tee up a forehand that she hates teeing up. She could just keep doing that for days. One factor that could make this a lot closer, Tom, than the Badosa drubbing I was thinking at the start of the match. That was just I didn't commit to that. I do think it will be close. I think it'll be 3 sets, but I am still siding with Badosa.
Just that term drubbing, only a handful of games for Maria then. But yeah, what's your thoughts then, Jack, in terms of Madrid and there's been a lot of talk about the new kind of schedule, the new way it looks this year, and Murray's had a few things to say recently. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we should be taking steps forward in terms of scheduling, and it feels like we're taking steps back for no reason. I mean, why are we still getting matches finishing at 1 a.m? Holger Rune and Davidovich Fekina yesterday going on until the early hours. Oh, it was great. It was great. I'm not saying the matches should not go on forever. I absolutely love when they go late into the night. But, I mean, there's ways of avoiding that. I think Vanch on Twitter mentioned the not before really being very... I mean, because you have Zverev winning 6-love, 6-1. You've got 3.5 hours, whatever it is, between the two matches. It just seems nonsensical, right? So
Yeah, but I mean, I get the flip side of it, and just to play, devil's advocate a little bit, for organisers, tickets to sell, you've got people who they want to have an evening session. Probably TV has a bit to say about it to keep people involved. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get the point that Vanch made on Twitter. I saw that, and I'm actually probably leaning more to that side of things. At the same time, nights like that, like last night, that's what makes tennis special sometimes. The under the lights, as they say in football, and it came that whole atmosphere. People are probably a little bit looser in the crowd, if you know what I mean. So it does bring a different element to a midday 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon match. But what's your thoughts then on the Runa and the ball and the ball mark? Did you have a look at that?
Yeah, he's not doing himself many favors. Is all I would say. He, it was an enjoyable part of the match. To be honest, I'm not totally knocking him for it, and he's not. He's certainly made a point of telling people he's not a robot. He is a human. He's got feelings. The crowd have got to respect him and all that. He says. I don't know. I can't believe him too much. Again, I still keep asterisking everything he does with the fact he's 19 years old, right? So
20 now. I think he was he not 20 the other day?
Was he just turned 20?
Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it was.
Well, maybe.
Still a young lad, still much younger than I. So
yeah, exactly, ditto. So I know that I wasn't perfect at 19 as well, or 20, whatever. So I'll let him off with it most of the time.
Time start to this one though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, just noticing Sakkari will be one of those players that can hit through the Badosa central balls. Again, I'll just reiterate that Badosa likes to use depth over the angles to push her opponent back before she takes the first cut. Sakkari's got one of the heaviest balls in the game, though, so she can fight fire with fire. Her backhand's great as well. Backhand's underrated. In fact, in a way, it could be stronger than the forehand a lot of the time. When the forehand's just looking a little loose. So far, we've already seen 3 or 4 unforced errors. There's another just now from the forehand. So it could be the telling shot here. I can't imagine it's that fun being a Sakkari fan sometimes. I think maybe Jake Davies in the comments there could be a Sakkari fan. He can tell us. But for me, it's probably pretty difficult to watch her spray forehand after forehand when the going gets tough. But I don't know. She's certainly a great player overall to watch, even if the forehand errors do let her down sometimes. Just looking at the head-to-head there, by the way, Tom. It is 1-1 between the two players. Just checking out when they met. Very tough to find. Have you got it there?
I think it was India and Wales. Was the last time they met at last year. Was it India and Wales, and Sakkari 1-3, if I remember correctly. I need to double check that. You might be able to prove me wrong. And then I think they met at the WTA finals in 2021 as well, actually. So it's one each. And yeah, Sakkari won the last outing. One thing I did notice actually pre-match, these two players have had pretty similar amounts of time on court so far in Madrid. I think it's something like 3 hours, and there's only like minutes separating them. And I did think beforehand, I mentioned Badosa may have some maybe slight injury concerns, and I think the court time, might go a long way. That's why I thought pre-match, if it goes to a third set, I think Sakkari will outlast her. But if it doesn't, you may be right in the two-setter side of things.
The interesting thing about the head-to-head there, you were just saying about it being the WTA finals in 2021. That was in Guadalajara. That's, again,
of course,
where we've got insane altitude conditions. It should be something that makes Sakkari's forehand fly, but you've got all these other things that complement our game, like the kick serve. The backhand actually is very steady. It's a very strange set of conditions for Sakkari to play in. So although Badosa took it in straight sets then, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Sakkari can blow the racket out of Badosa's hands. I honestly think all the cards could be in Sakkari's wheelhouse. I just think her nerves recently make me think Badosa will have a steadier game to prevail here. But I honestly could be wrong. But I think most of the points will be dictated by Sakkari, Tom.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's proven by the first 3 games. Very, very close, quite brutal kind of slogfest rallies, and that's pretty much how it'll probably go for the remainder of the match. We could be for 2 hours plus here.
Yeah, loved 30 there as well, and Sakkari just coughing up a couple of errors to give Badosa the game, almost case in point. I think it's quite telling. Again, that Badosa ball that's heavy through the middle of the court. If you've actually played tennis before, as a viewer, guys, you'll know how hard it is to create any sort of offense off of a really deep, heavy ball, which is what Badosa will be challenging Sakkari to do over and over again. Interesting one there, by the way. Sakkari coming in off of a serve and a short ball wins the point just to force an error from Badosa. I'm very interested to see the to and fro here, Tom. It should be good. Got Ghost there in the comments saying, telling all Rune wiping away the mark, but not Hawkeye failure. ADF whinging for 10 minutes. Madrid crowd yelling on Runa's serve. Yeah, there was a lot there. It wasn't Hawkeye, by the way, Ghost. It was, of course, Fox 10. Right? They've got Fox 10 here rather than Hawkeye.
I think, yeah. I mean, I sent out at the time last night, I actually sent out a tweet. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was something like, I think the Amazon commentators had said, we've been told by somebody there that Runa went over and basically moved the mark. So at the time I said, look, he's not doing himself any favours. Madrid crowd now the latest in a growing list of, venues around the world who Holger Rune is enemy number 1, public enemy number 1. But then to be fair to him, I actually saw again on Twitter later on, and it looked, I mean, it'll be subjective, and if whether or not you like Holger Rune or if you don't like him, what he was doing, but he does go over. And in the second glance, when I actually saw the video, it maybe looks as if he was actually just going to have a look at the mark and then going, okay, it was maybe a bit long. But then, the Madrid crowd got on top of him, and as he did against Sinner in Monte Carlo, he looked like he thrived on that. He was looking like he was losing that match. And he started playing up to the crowd the way that Medvedev again did today. That seems to inspire them, and that seemed to help Holger Rune. And I think maybe he was maybe thinking, I'm in a tough match here, I'm going to try and wind him up, and it started to just go a bit over the top. But I think if he looks back and he'll maybe have a look back and say, maybe I should have just walked right past it and just stayed miles away and not got involved.
Yeah, it's hard to fault him too much. Just taking us back to the match for a second, Sakkari with a forehand unforced error, super close to the net, shouldn't have missed it, but now 15-40, so 2 break points to Badosa. Already a chance for the Spaniard. Happy to talk through this one as Sakkari nails a first serve down the tee. There you go. I mean, the serve is pretty clutch. I really like the serve of Sakkari. I think that can get flack unjustifiably. It's a pretty good shot. There's a lot of good technique there, great knee bends, great arm action going through the ball. I honestly think it's a very, very clutch shot, and she can vary it on a dime as well. So a second break point. Happy to talk through this one as well. Another great first serve down the tee, but Badosa gets it back. Sakkari, with a look at a forehand, does enough with it. Well done.
Strong.
Yeah,
strong.
And this is the sort of peaks and troughs you'll get with a Sakkari forehand. You'll get a totally duff one up at the net, and then you'll get a second one that's just rifled into the corner. It's just way too much. So well played.
Yeah, I mean the forehand seems to be firing a little bit here, and good depth on a lot of our ground strokes.
Yeah, overall, definitely. Another one, case in point there. Not enough to win the point, but the next one, I think she's just missed.
I think that's clipped the line.
It has clipped the line. Yeah, it has
She's
clipped the line.
apologising, so she
And
knows it was that was one of those ones that you hit and you just go, oh no, that's gone long, and then it just dips at the last minute.
yeah, I mean that's quite telling as well. I was talking about, Tom, the fact that forehand could be particularly up and down in altitude. The ball will fly on you at altitude if you don't commit to the shot. So the ones that kind of look a little loose like that, I don't think she was expecting that to go in, honestly, because it wasn't full commitment to the shot. So it will be interesting to see how many of those she gets, how many crazy forehands she gets that just aren't close to the baseline. As Sakkari does hold, though, great forehands. It's all going to be about the forehands, Tom, and that was great forehands.
That forehand has basically brought her back from 15-40, well, including one, strong serve. But other than that, the other 3 points were won because of, the variation on the forehand and the depth. And then we'll throw in that lucky one there as well, and that clipped the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting, Love 30 up on the Badosa serve, the forehand, steals that from her, and then 15-40 down on the serve, the forehand saves her from that position. So it's, very, very to and fro so far. Yeah, I'm very, very, honestly, Tom, the biggest takeaway for me with this matchup at the moment, in each player's respective careers, I think it's just great to see Badosa back to playing great tennis. I always thought number 2 was a little kind, but I think top 10. Just being honest, I can't think of what. I can think of 2 players that would be ahead of Badosa every time. Sabalenka and Swiatek every single time for sure.
Yeah.
But I think she should be part of the top 10. She's definitely, if she plays her best tennis, she definitely takes one of those spots for me.
Well, I see what you mean. I see what you mean in terms of, it was a little kind on her because, as you say, right now, and Sabalenka's always had that potential. Swiatek, was head and shoulders last year, but everyone kind of knew that was kind of waiting for Sabalenka to come good. So being number 2 in the world, like you say, it was, when you say kind, it was just maybe a little fortunate at the time, the timing of it. But to be honest, again, pre-match, I was looking at the rankings and I just couldn't get the slump, in terms of, the fact that we're in the 40s now for Badosa. But there's been a few, well publicized stuff in terms of mental health injuries, stuff like that with Badosa. And she sometimes just needs to pure love her tennis. And in terms of, when things are going bad for her, I think I can't remember exactly what match it was, but she lost, I think, a second set, 6-love after winning the first, and you could just tell, she's letting it get to her personally, and I can remember just thinking that, even watching it on the television, just going, she's taking this personally, and she's letting it hurt her, affect her mentally. So yeah, when she's enjoying her tennis, she's a great player to watch.
Yeah, I think very good point, Tom, because I remember she had an interview with Tennis Channel. And one of the most telling quotes she gave was, you can be healthy, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. She was obviously having, mental health issues at some point, and I think that can definitely impact into people's games more than a lot of fans and critics, will allow. Basically, it's a tough sport. So,
and I think it was well highlighted in the Breakpoint stuff on Netflix as well. I think that was quite a feature of the Badosa section of it, was the fact that she has had mental health problems. She was taking things personally. She was thinking she was the worst tennis player in the world if she would lose a match. So I like I said, when you watch that and you look at her season last year, it was a good year, 2022, and you just and sometimes basically from the outside looking in, you're just thinking, I wish these players knew how good they were.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she never won a title last year, did you? So did she? Oh, she did win the one. Sorry, she won Sydney at the start of the year. But apart from that, I suppose losses after losses can feel bad, but she was still winning good matches in there. I mean, she beat Rybakina at the end of the year, for example. I think people forget about that.
Yeah.
And then this year's been great for her, honestly. So, yeah, bottom line, it's just good to have her back to the sort of level we know she can play.
She's held again. Yeah, just to jump in there. Yeah, she's held again to 3-2. This time it's Badosa that's apologising for a stroke of luck. So, as I said, nothing between these two players, and which makes for an intriguing next hour or so.
Absolutely, yeah. Just looking at a few of our other results there, yeah, it kind of all kicked off with Adelaide at the start of the year. The win against Kontaveit, my God, Kontaveit's another player we could talk about for a while in terms of mental health issues, etc. Her game's totally gone recently. But then wins against like Haddad Maya and Leila Fernandez, yeah, as I was saying, Kasich Kina, that total drubbing there, and Gauff, the match before. She's back in the mix for sure, and she was only really losing to good players. A couple of losses to Rybakina, Pegula, and Sabalenka, her last 4 losses. So you can't really fault her, to be honest. And I lost to Samsonova, who you won't know, Tom, is like the GOAT in my personal opinion.
Right, okay, yeah.
Samsonova is just like the forehand.
Talk me through that one.
Just a forehand from God. It's just like, okay, it's a little hit and miss, but my God, if she puts it all together at some point, she's in the top 10. She's just like an insane player. She's so good.
Yeah.
I just remember her last year playing Swiatek during her crazy run, Swiatek's crazy run. She was the only player that came close to beating her. It was like 4-all in the second set. She was up a set, 5-all, I think, in the third set and stuff. She was a whisker away from beating her. It was a fantastic match. So,
and what's happening here? So I just noticed Sakkari was, I don't know if there was a shout from the crowd or something that happened, or
I don't know. Yeah, Madrid rowdiness. I think I can't because I've not just got the sound on for a second. Yeah, it'll just be somebody drunk at 4:30 in the afternoon, I think.
Yeah. What's it? Sangrias? Is that
Sangrias? Yeah, a couple of sangrias, definitely. I have been to Madrid actually, and they do a really good cider.
All right.
Yeah. They like the better the cider, apparently, Tom. The higher you're meant to pour it from into the glass. So maybe
because I've interestingly enough, for everybody watching and listening, is I've literally recently decided that I'm switching from beer to cider. So that's quite an interesting point you make about Madrid.
Nice. That's a very Scottish health tip.
Yeah, I know, giving up the beer.
One of your 5 a day.
No, I don't know what it was. Just recently went on the Old Mout or whatever.
Yeah, that's
one
nice,
of those
actually. Yeah,
so I had one of them one night, and I've just stuck to it, and that's been my drink of choice, my tipple of choice recently. So I'll remember that. If I ever make it to Madrid, I'll remember it.
Absolutely.
The cider poured from a certain height.
It's not quite like that Old Mout sweetiness. It's very like dry.
Yeah, like your Strongbow kind of thing, or your
not quite like Strongbow. A bit better than Strongbow. I don't
think
not
your Frosty Jacks, or
not your Frosty Jacks. No. Do you even get Frosty Jacks anymore?
I couldn't tell you, Jack. I'm far too old for that. I couldn't
tell you. Coming back to the match, and no more Frosty Jacks chat for a while. We're not sponsored by Frosty Jacks.
Other ciders are available.
Yeah, great backhand there, by the way, from Badosa, just to keep herself in this game. But before that, I was just going to say the Sakkari serve has actually been very, very good. It's about 3 games there where she's winning a couple of 3 points a game with that serve. And that can be the difference a lot of the time at altitude. If you can deliver a big, heavy serve in this sort of lively kind of condition, that's a great... Oh my God, she just made that. Was that in?
No, I think you've just commented Kirster there, and she's just put that one a bit wide.
Yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, back to the serve. I thought Sakkari's serve was fantastic there, kicked out wide. Case in point, when it's as lively as this, it's so hard to control, and Sakkari has got the better serve of the two. So again, serve, forehand, I think it's all in Sakkari's ballpark, like whether or not she wins this match. But Badosa will deliver such a high base level, it's going to be pretty tough to break down. But yeah, Sakkari's match to dictate. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just looking at the live match stats, and what you're saying is matching up to exactly what the stats are saying. I mean, Sakkari's won just over 82% of the first serve points, 14 out of 17, compared to Badosa's 52.9%. It just shows you how well she's serving.
Yeah, there you go. So you'd imagine the Badosa serving stats will be quite similar. Maybe the second of Sakkari could get attacked, but again, that second serve kicked out wide in the ad court is actually really strong. So honestly, the service points of Sakkari should be a little safer than the Badosa service points. But we know how much of a grinder Badosa is. She is definitely capable of winning this one. I remember that match in Indian Wells, Tom. I don't know if you got to see that one, the one that Badosa won, when she won the title against Azarenka. That was
remember it. Yeah, what a match.
Fantastic. That's just a case in point about her being able to grind it out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll admit, I remember, the match, and I remember thinking that as a pre-match that Azarenka would win it, just because she'd been playing well, and so I thought it was an Azarenka win, but so I was pleasantly surprised when Badosa came up, because I think that, like I said to you previous, I think a title for players like Sakkari and Badosa who don't win a lot of titles, I think any title should be giving them that boost and confidence. And it's like again, just to reference to football a little bit, when a striker's basically on a drought, they just need that one goal to start going on a scoring run. And with these types of players, I think that's similar.
Yeah, because it can carry from match to match, right? In football, and obviously I know it can in tennis, but I'd imagine it's very similar. It's just momentum, isn't it? A lot of the time.
And here's a chance.
Yeah, just about to say that, a double fault in a fairly important moment from Badosa. Quite telling there. Love 30 for Sakkari. You might be a spot ahead of me, maybe, Tom. Have you seen the end of this point?
So I'm just a little bit ahead, and Badosa's just went slightly wide with a forehand.
Oof, so she has. That was not much. Jeez, so love 40.
And so we've got are these the first break points of the match?
We had a couple on Sakkari's serve.
Remember, that's right. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, we should use that forehand to come back into it. Yeah, so first Sakkari break points then.
Yep. Great angle there as well, just to show you how much the Badosa forehand kicks off the court. And when she does try and flan it out, she's not quite as comfortable, which is why that one just goes a tiny little bit wide. Second serve now for Sakkari. Love 40. Surely a chance to seize control of the match. Here we go. I'll talk through it. Second serve for Badosa. Second serve going straight down the middle. Badosa forehand inside out. Sakkari backhand cross. They're going backhands cross now. Badosa keeps going cross. She's just pushed it a touch long low to try and push Sakkari back. And it's the break.
Yep. Yeah, backhand to backhand battle there. And it was just a question of who would blink first, and Badosa just pushes it wide. It looked actually close watching it. I thought she may have challenged, but Sakkari just started walking to the changeover straight away, so it must not have been as close as I thought.
I thought it was a wee bit out. I think Tom definitely was a little long, definitely from here at least. Interesting, that backhand to backhand battle. Again, I touched on it earlier. I'd expect Sakkari to win that one. For all of our mental demons, our backhand's not a shot that tends to break down. So I honestly think if Badosa gets in that sort of situation again, she should be the one that changes direction first. Just ask the question of the Sakkari forehand. Because you see her miss forehands from very silly places in the court. I mean, anything can happen on that side. Maybe it's a little bit of a gamble, but...
Well, I wonder if Badosa didn't change it up on that occasion, because Sakkari has actually been doing pretty well on the forehand, and that's maybe on her mind. If I switch this up here, that might hand her the initiative. So it might be part of the game plan.
Very good point
from Sakkari, because as I said to you, as we touched on, she was 15-40 down. She used about 3-4 strong deep forehands to get herself out of that game. That's maybe in the Badosa mind, and when she's thinking, if I'm going to switch this round now, I'm going to lose the point. So,
yeah, very good point, actually, Tom. Very good point. Do we know who either of these players would have in the next round if they were to get through?
I did. I thought I checked this, but I don't have it off the top of my head. Do you know?
I'm just finding it now. I'm just finding the draw. There's never an easy way to find the draw, honestly. It's always fairly convoluted on the WTA website. I have got it now, though. Just looking at Sakkari here, would be against Samsonova, aforementioned, or Begu, depending on who wins that match. And it's got to be Samsonova, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that one. I'd also love... Samsonova's lost. Never mind.
Right.
It would be Begu after all. You would expect the winner of this to win that match, so it's quite an important
good chance
match
to go deep. Absolutely. I mean, I was looking at pre-match, though. I think this round now, the round of 16, is as far as Sakkari's been in Madrid before. So a great chance for her to get into, maybe, I mean, I don't want to say that it's going to be a walkover in terms of professional tennis. That never happens, does it? Or rarely happens. So, but a great chance for either player to get into a last four and really kind of announce himself on the 2023 season.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's very surprising that Sakkari's not been through to the past the round of 16 at this tournament. Honestly, the conditions
Again,
suit her to a T.
yeah, and that's what I said to you before when I was thinking about Sakkari and I was thinking about she's a clay court player, and for whatever reason I've had it in my head that she's went deep here before, and then it just looking beforehand, no, she hasn't. So that was a shock to me as well.
Yeah, very surprised to hear that. Ghost in the chat, by the way, Tom, have you ever had tractor blood orange cider?
I've heard, somebody else has spoken to me about this before, actually. Blood orange cider recently. Somebody said that to me to try that. So thanks, Ghost. I will certainly be searching that out. But I think I have had it. I genuinely think I've had it, but it's not something that I've bought. I think I've been past it one time, somewhere.
You can get some pretty mental modern flavors, but actually blood orange cider does sound quite nice, I gotta say.
Yeah, definitely. Like Ghost suggests, in a warm summer evening, but we don't get many of those. So, yeah, I'll look forward to it when we get our couple of weeks of nice weather.
Yes, yeah, a couple of days, whatever it is we're getting this year, Tom. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm wondering who you've got for the tournament, by the way, because obviously most of the time the question is it Swiatek or is it somebody else, basically. Swiatek should be a tiny bit vulnerable at Madrid. She's had matches against players that aren't going to blow her off the court so far. Pera's not a walkover by any means, to be fair. She's a very good clay courter. But in conditions where the serve's a little more important, I mean, Stuttgart was fairly like that, but you don't get the ball sort of flying on you sometimes. It's a little bit easier to control. I would expect somebody that can rush her to maybe be a problem.
Yeah.
Krejcikova would probably be the next matchup. I think because it's clay, Swiatek still has her number, to be honest. They have had close matches in the past, of course. There was that Rome match where Krejcikova had match points. And I actually think the rest of her half doesn't look that dangerous. Pegula, Trevisan, Kudermetova, Kasatkina. I don't think any of them beat her. So I do think she gets to the final, but I think Sabalenka is the favourite if she gets there.
You'd think Sabalenka beats, Swiatek then, yeah?
Okay, it's about 50-50, but I just for fun, I'll side with Sabalenka by a whisker because I think the conditions are amazing for her here.
Well, yeah, obviously Sabalenka's a past winner. She likes it here. So I wouldn't say that, if that was to happen, that the tennis world would be, shocked or stunned. So yeah, it's very, very, very realistic. I've got a wee dark horse for you in terms of just, I like the look of Martina Trevisan on clay. I do.
Okay.
And now I know Pegula is going to be a very, very tough battle, but if she can get through that, I just like the look. Maybe not as a dark horse as a winner, but maybe to shock, maybe put a couple of shocks together still in the remainder of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean Trevisan v Pegula next, so who knows? Trevisan is sometimes underrated because her hard court record is appalling. But actually, she's great on clay. She did make the semis last year at the French, of course. People forget that. She could do something against Pegula maybe. Pegula is a weird one.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. Yeah.
Okay, last year she basically attested to the fact altitude was like her least favorite conditions to play in, and then she made the final in Madrid. She won in Guadalajara. She's kind of totally proved the opposite. She's got such a steady game. She's one of the few players that's going to miss at this altitude. So I don't know why she thinks she's not a good player, but she obviously is.
It's just like Medvedev on the other side, isn't it? Like Medvedev doesn't think he's a clay court player. He thinks he's a hard court specialist. He starts over the last 14 months. When the clay court season comes around, he's not too shabby.
Yeah, exactly. He's good, but I don't.
It's not as good and hard, but
I don't think he's beaten any top 10 players. Is all I'd say, Tom. But
did he beat? I know Zverev's not classed as a top 10 player as such at the moment, but and he's a past Madrid winner and he loves the clay. And now I know he's still coming back from injury, but I think that again to me when watching that match, I think Monte Carlo was it, where. Again, there was a bit of spice and a bit of needle in that one, but I thought that was a statement win.
Yeah, and in Indian Wells, it was like two very similar matches, right, where it just went like super deep in the third. Yeah, it was a difficult match to watch from Zverev's point of view. I think he would be a favourite here, to be honest, if that matchup did happen in Madrid. It's unlikely, given Alcaraz's level at the moment, that Zverev beats Alcaraz. I don't think that's going to happen. But if he did, I honestly think Zverev would be quite a good... he'd feel comfortable against Medvedev in these conditions. Definitely.
Yeah. Just mentioning, a bit of Nido and Monte Carlo. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Jack, that I've been watching, and it's mainly been in the main side, to be fair, but in Madrid, there's been a couple of bits of, Nido throughout, and more matches than usual. I was thinking, I was watching Munar and Kokkinakis. They had a set two at the end of that. I didn't know what happened, but Karen Khachanov and Batista Agut yesterday, they were having a chat at the end. And then you had Davidovic, Fekina and Runa last night. And I'm just wondering, is there something in the water in Madrid that, these players are really, really hyped up and just wanting to battle?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know, too many ciders, I think, or something. I've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Too many blood orange ciders.
Exactly. Something's going on. I've no idea. By the way, the match, we just had Badosa serve a great serve down the tee to go 4-5. She is staying in this. Sakkari did a great job of getting to 5-4 on her serve. She will get up to serve for the set now. Do we expect nerves, Tom? What do we think? It's been pretty steady so far, right? I don't think there's been much to be scared about, to be honest.
No, I'm pretty confident, and this will be in my first commentary, this will be a mark of, whether or not I've got a good prediction, but I'm pretty confident Sakkari will see this out. I also, at the same time, I think we'll probably see a different Badosa in the second set, but I think the way that Sakkari has been playing, I think she's a little bit in Badosa's head at the moment. You could see Badosa at the changeover. She's kind of motioning to our box. So yeah, I think famous last words, but I think I'll go for a Badosa seeing this out to 15. Let's say to 15.
Okay, I like it. She's sort of motioning something to do with her ground strokes. Maybe she's feeling the shots are flying on her a little bit. We have seen a few unforced errors in situations she wouldn't like them. Maybe she just feels like she's not getting enough weight in the ball. Either way, this is I'm speculating, and it does look like Sakkari's hitting a better ball than Badosa. So I agree, 15. I think to 15. Interestingly, obviously, we were talking about the fact, I was saying that earlier on, pretty much all of Sakkari's wins this year that have been important wins have been free sets. I mean, she's Garcia 3 sets, Kalinina 3 sets, Rogers 3 sets, Pliskova 3 sets, Kvitova 3 sets. The latter 4, by the way, all coming in Indian Wells. She didn't have a single match.
Was it. Yeah.
Apart from her loss, where she didn't go to that third set. So
yeah, I remember Indian Wells, and I remember I think I was actually writing about it for another website. And I just remember coming to the pre-match and going, she's every single win she's had here. She loves a third set. It's like the Andy Murray of the female game. Do you know what I mean? I remember that.
Honestly, Sakkari could be more frustrating to watch. Just some of the errors she hits sometimes. Andy's forehand is pretty garbage in a lot of ways. But I mean, Sakkari's is just so up and down. Like, her peak is amazing. Her troughs are grim. By the way, the first point there, great return to the Sakkari forehand, and it was just one that was netted. But followed up with a great serve. All the stuff I was saying earlier. Great serve under pressure. Not so good forehand under pressure. If she can deliver the serve she needs here, she should get over the line to take the first set.
Yeah, and we're in danger of, my prediction getting spot on, and you don't want that trend to start because I'll start getting a big head. So,
yeah, great 1-2 punch there. So great serve out wide, followed by a backhand cross. Didn't even have to play the forehand. Great approach. Yeah, really, really tidy point there at the most crucial moment as she steps up for 30-15 here. I'll do the set points if we do get to them, Tom, as I'm just seeing Sakkari miss a first serve. We'll see. Good first prediction to break your duck, Tom, if you do get this here. Hopefully not a double fault. Surely not. It's not. We are locked in a rally. Why not commentate on it? Then the forehand goes to the left, so that is 30-all, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I'm about 15 seconds just slightly ahead, so I knew.
Yeah, you could well be. A tiny connection issue there, I think, Tom. You could be okay. Pretty sure.
Am I back? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're back. I'm pretty sure you're back now. I'll commentate on this 30-all point. Big first serve out wide. Badosa straight down the middle. This is very interesting. This is something I want to talk about because I've seen Sakkari do this before. Right, Badosa gets a forehand return, puts it into the juice court. Sakkari stays put so that she gets a backhand. So rather than going for the serve plus forehand, she goes for her tidier wing and goes for a serve plus backhand. And she hits a winner off it. So it was a great shot, but it's very unconventional. Here we're going back. It's not something you'd normally see players do, basically. As we've got set point, by the way, they're locked in a battle down the middle of the court. Neither player going for the angle. Sakkari misses the forehand, though. So it's 3 forehand unforced errors. And just
first set point opportunity missed.
Yep, I think she's challenging as she motions to her box there. I'm pretty sure we have had issues. Of course, you alluded to that earlier, Tom, with this system. Oh, hold on. I think she's cancelled the challenge. Never mind. Juice it is. I think. There we go. She can't make up her mind, Tom. I'm not.
I think as you're right. It's just.
Great first serve down the tee, unreturned. Nope, never mind. It's a let. Always tough without the sound sometimes, Tom. Here we go. She's going for it again. I'll talk through this one because either way, it's going to bring up a massive point in the match, probably the biggest point in the match so far. Big first serve out wide, returned to Sakkari's backhand. Sakkari does enough to give herself an easy shot. She's not missed that. She has.
She has, yeah. No, I thought she'd made it. But straight away, looking at the players' reactions, they seem to know straight away, and it's long.
4 forehand unforced errors to give the first break point of the third break point of the match, I should say, for Badosa. This time to stay in the set, however. Does Sakkari go big out wide to the Badosa backhand? I think she will. Here we go. Big out wide to the...
before.
Yeah, exactly. She's gone straight down the middle, though. I think it's caught Badosa out and she misses her forehand for Juice. That was very impressive, actually.
Yeah. She's just Sakkari is a confidence player. I think when things are going well, she likes to pick up the momentum, and I think I see her seeing it out from here.
Big prediction again, Tom. I like it.
I like predictions.
You'll have your heart in your mouth if she gets another forehand. Second serve. Again, it'll be interesting to see where she goes with this. Maybe she'll go down the middle just to give herself more of a chance of playing a backhand. Big down the middle. She is playing a forehand. She's okay. She's still on the point. Has the time to set up another one. Great. That was clutch. Well played. That was really good. First forehand winner of the game there to get her second set point. Very impressive.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've been pleasantly surprised about the strength of the Sakkari forehand. I know we touched on it, early in the match. Would that be the difference maker? But consistently, she's pulled it out of the bag, and she's, I know it's the first winner, but it's not just about winners. It's about creating that space for the next point. And a lot of the time, she has been pushing Badosa back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a shame it was preceded by the 4 forehand unforced errors before that. But this has basically been Sakkari's career in a way, but also this year, so many of these matches just so up and down, but then digging herself out of holes just like that to take the set there. Badosa spraying that backhand long. I mean, she gets herself in bad situations, but the important thing is she does come up with the goods from difficult situations as well. It's just very up and down.
Like you say, it's been a very tight match, 2 very evenly matched players, and it was only separated by just the one break of serve, and Sakkari took her chances. I think you mentioned it just a moment ago. Badosa had a third of the first set, and she couldn't take any of them. Whereas Sakkari, she took her chance and she was ruthless when she got it.
Yeah, great first set. Enjoyed that actually, Tom. Good to see Sakkari playing good tennis. What did you think?
Yeah, like I say, I'm confident. When I said Sakkari would win it in 3, I just hope that Badosa now comes out, changes it up a little bit. I haven't seen anything, if I'm being honest, with Badosa. I've been more impressed with Maria in terms of, I just think she looks the more confident player. I think she's a little bit in Badosa's head, and I just want to see Paula come out the second set and change it up a little bit, try and mix it up and do something a little bit different.
Yeah, maybe pepper the Sakkari forehand a little bit. Maybe the serve direction, just give her a few easy balls on the second serve. Just see if it stands up to the test. We've seen her pass the test. We've seen her fail the test. Just a little bit of variety rather than just sticking to the backhand a lot of the time. I think it would be interesting to see from Badosa. It's tough to push Sakkari back. That's the thing. Because both her shots are so heavy, she can kind of absorb that quite well. She has got pretty... good hands,
She's
fast
so
courts.
fast as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's so fast, across the ground that she gets to a lot of the balls. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
So yeah, it can be disheartening that you could probably be hitting your shots well, and you probably think I'm playing well here, but I just can't put this girl away. And I think that's what sometimes can happen.
Yeah, it was interesting you were talking about court time earlier, but honestly, for Sakkari, I really don't think it matters much. She's always been called
so fit. Yeah,
called like the fittest player on tour. I think that's fair to say. She's just such a machine. I generally the longer she's been on court, the more it might affect her mental state, but physically she'll be absolutely fine, I think. And Badosa is pretty similar as well. Maybe not quite the Sakkari of the world, but she's pretty far up there.
Yeah, well, pre-match, so Sakkari had been on court so far before the match started for 3 hours and 58 minutes, so just shy of 4 hours. And Paula Badosa, she had been on for 3 hours and 39 minutes. So, just a slight difference, about 20 odd minutes that Badosa had been on shorter. But yeah, as I said to you, I think if this did go into a third set now, I think that first set was very important, especially for Maria Sakkari, because now if it does go into a third set, I think, like you mentioned, she's one of the fittest players on tour, and I think she would outlast her.
Yeah, it's maybe clutching a little bit as well, Tom. But I mean, at altitude, if it does go deeper and deeper and deeper, the fittest player will tend to win. It's a little harder to breathe. It can feel a little bit stifled out there.
Yeah,
it genuinely does become a factor pretty late on in the match, but obviously, this stage of the match is neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter, but it could become a factor.
Can I ask, Jack? You mentioned you'd been to Madrid earlier. I mean, have you been to the event, the Madrid Open, or was it?
I haven't actually. No, I went a long time ago. It was just for leisure.
I just wondered if you noticed it. If you were in the crowd, you can maybe ask John next time we speak to him. Like, if you notice it when you're there and you're spectating or you're working on it, do you notice the altitude, the change in altitude? I wonder because
I see. No, I didn't notice it at the time at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to make much of a difference in terms of everyday life, but the ball, obviously,
when they're running about,
and running about as well, exactly. If you were doing something athletic for a long time, then it might make a bit of a difference. But obviously the main thing is the ball characteristics are completely different. You also get a lot of benefit at altitude from playing slice. You just don't have many players in the draw that play slice. Obviously, Ash Barty would have been a perfect candidate for that. It's just the way as the air gets thinner, actually slicing the ball, undercutting it. This is going to sound kind of physicsy wanky sort of stuff, but basically, the thinner the air is, the more, if the ball is spinning back the way, the ball will dip, basically, because there's less grit. It's hard to explain. You need to see a video of it. Anyway, all you need to know is it dips faster with slice. It doesn't dip as fast with topspin.
Yeah.
So you really need to have tons of topspin to control it, or you have to have a great slice. Basically.
Yeah. And there's a small chance here now for Sakkari in game one of the second set.
Yeah, 30-all. Yeah, that was quick. Missed a couple of those points. I'll just tune in now. 30-all. Here we go. First serve for Badosa. Misses that. So second serve, massive chance for Sakkari. I did say at the start of the set, maybe give Sakkari a chance in the forehand on a big point. That was poor though, Tom.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Double fault.
Yeah, we've got a break point here, and this would be, I think, touching on.
Tom just dipping out there for a second. I think he'll come back in a bit. I think connections just went. If he was about to say this could be curtains, I absolutely would not speak too soon, because we've seen Sakkari in far better positions than one break in the second set. Anything could happen. And she spares another forehand wide. So there's just, who knows? A little bit of a movement problem there by the looks of it. Tom will return in a second. I believe just dropped internet connection, I think. Why is the slice so hard to master? No, they absolutely don't practice it enough, I would say, Sean. It's not a shot that you get taught as a junior. The women's game generally is taught as a power game, so that's the bread and butter of their games. They'll try and maximize the amount of power they can get off of the ground strokes wherever they can. Slice is just a much rarer shot. It takes a lot of feel. It's not something that gets as much time, I guess, when juniors are getting brought up. Ash Barty was a very, very rare exception to the rule. There are a few players that play the slice as well as that. I'm struggling to think of another off of the top of my head, actually, in the modern game. Definitely. And it's such a good shot. Obviously, Maria is one. I forgot about Tatiana Maria, but she's not a world beater. She slices on both sides. It's a little bit of a different story. Jabeur actually is a great example too. She, of course, won Madrid last year, and that's partly to do with just the amount of variety and feel and touch and spin and slice she can put on the ball. She could just do whatever she likes with it. Yeah, it's a shot that's underused, and I really like when players are able to use it well. Sakkari with a huge fist pump there, by the way, as she saves the advantage point in the Badosa game. It's a forehand unforced error from Badosa. I just big serve out wide. Badosa again for another unforced error. Both players just having a little bit of trouble controlling the ball at the moment. Big break point number 2 for Sakkari. Does she take it? Slow second serve to the Sakkari forehand. It stands up. Sakkari defending for her life. And Badosa can't control the backhand. We are 1-love in the second set. Sakkari just ahead. There we go. A Sakkari straight set win here would be huge. And it's not something I would have expected. Last time she beat a top 10 opponent or top 20 opponent in 3 sets. I am very intrigued to find out. I'll come back with that stat in just a second. Oh my God, it's been ages. Alexandrova, fair enough. She beat Alexandrova earlier in the year in straight sets, 3-2. Never would have expected that from her. Badosa, of course, forgetting, is in fact number 42 in the world. Completely forgot that. Still, we know what level Badosa could bring to the court. This would be a huge win for her. And of course, Begu in the next round, you would absolutely think Sakkari's got the firepower to take that one. Could be a great tournament for her. Love 15 though. Just elaborating a little bit on why Sakkari should be a monster in these conditions. You've got the serve, and honestly, the serve is for me, one of the better serves on the tour in terms of the variety and kick she can get off of it at this altitude. And she's got a decent one down the tee. She can get quite a lot of power on the flat serve. So the serve, for me, is better than the most players on tour, particularly, obviously, Badosa. And the back, that's a lovely volley from Badosa. Oh, great shot from Sakkari. The forehand obviously flies off of the court if she can get it in. The clay and the altitude combination, such a brutal combo when she can land it. And the backhand's steady enough to overcome the volatile conditions. So she should be great here. Again, it's just about the forehand. Can she keep it in? Can she consistently hit through the ball without feeling like she's going to spray an unforced error? The match in Guadalajara last year, when she played the final against Jess Pegula, that was an exhibition in how not to play her forehand at altitude. She just couldn't hit through it. She was like so many unforced errors. To be fair, Pegula knew that. Pegula played into the forehand. She kept it low. Nonetheless, she should have done better. She didn't. There's still that mental bug. There's still those mental demons. So she's either one of the best players in the world at altitude, or she's one of the worst players in the world at altitude. That's harsh, obviously, but she's not anywhere near as good as her best tennis when she's playing badly. As if to prove me wrong, though, 3 amazing forehands in a row. She surely finishes the point. No. Just a little tame on the last forehand when she came in. 30-all. Never been the best volleyer in the world. Of course, she uses a very, very heavy racket. Not a racket that would be that good for so a head-heavy racket, I should say. Not a racket that's that good for volleys if your technique isn't great. Yeah, you can kind of, for singles, you can get away with a lighter racket for volleys if you've not got the best feel in the world, if you've not got the best net game in the world. Generally, a heavier racket's going to give you a bit more shtick on the volleys. But in singles, you just need one to control the ball, right? It's a finishing shot. It's not one that you're going to play to react to balls or anything like that. Getting a little bit sidetracked here. But the point is, Sakkari has got a racket that does not allow her to play volleys when her technique isn't that good. So if you can get her forward, you've got quite a good chance of winning the point. She's not one of the best net players in the world by any means. You don't see her play doubles like ever. In fact, I can't remember the last time I saw her play doubles outside of the United Cup with Tsitsipas. And that was a little bit of a different story, obviously, wasn't it? She's not playing many volleys in that situation anyway. 40-30 on Sakkari's serve. Great serve out wide, followed by a backhand down the line into her bread and butter in these conditions, and she holds serve. 2-love. Well played, Sakkari. She's doing well. Can Badosa answer for all of the Badosa strengths, the heaviness in the forehand, the ability to push her opponent off the baseline? She can sometimes look like she can't play above her base level. She doesn't rifle forehand winners here, there, and everywhere. She's great at pushing her opponent off the baseline. And her serve is a little ropey. She does tend to double fault every so often. Her first serve delivery could be a lot better. Oh, man, Sakkari made that. Don't think so. If you're watching that, Coach Jack, thank you very much. Watch that back if she's made this. I don't think she has. She hasn't. No. Great first serve from Badosa there, just to prove me wrong. Forced an error from the Sakkari forehand. 15-love to Badosa, 2-love. Another great serve from Badosa, I think, just to force another error. 30-love. A little bit of momentum going back Badosa's way after a very poor game on her serve. The second serve letting her down in that last game. The first serve not doing enough. 30-love. Misses the second serve. Here we go, locked in a battle now. They're going backhands cross. I was saying earlier that should be advantage Sakkari, but she nets it. Never mind. This is where the Sakkari focus can go a little bit. You know, she keeps it to one break. All of a sudden, there's pressure on her next service game. If she does the same thing again, there's pressure on her next service game. This is why one break in the second set, as I'm sure every single Sakkari fan that's watching the stream knows, is not a given. She needs that cushion. She absolutely does. And I can say that as an Andy fan. I know that Andy needs that cushion. One bad service game is not far away a lot of the time. Unlucky Sakkari. That was great from Badosa. Great depth just to force the error from Sakkari there. And it is 2-1. She remains within touching distance. What was the last win for Badosa that kind of blew us away? I'm thinking about it now, because the Coco Gauff win, yeah, I think that was more about Coco Gauff than it was about Badosa. The Kasatkina win, yeah, I think that was probably more about Kasatkina as well than Badosa. Okay, it was 1-1, but Kasatkina's had a horrendous year this year. So it's been really, really poor. The win in Sydney last year against Krejcikova, that was massive, but that was a fair while ago. And honestly, she was riding a wave at that point as number 9 in the world. I'm struggling to think of another one that really, really impressed me in the meantime. I'm just going to look it up now. But honestly, the wins have been few and far between. That match against Krejcikova last year was our only top 10 win of last year. She beat Jabeur in Stuttgart as well, and that was a great match. But apart from that, I mean, she's had very, very few big scalps in the last year, despite beating a lot of good players that were lower ranked. Yeah, she's struggling to mix it with the best in the world. So this, if she can make the comeback here, this would be massive. But it's looking unlikely given her track record. Again, just unable to push her base level into the red when she really needs to. 2-1 Sakkari. How can she serve? How long do you think it'll take Andreeva to be able to compete with the top players. It's probably, I'm just going to let Tom back in. Here he is. Hi, Tom.
Hello. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry. I assume it was an internet issue.
Don't know, the whole computer.
Right, okay.
Crashed on me, so it wasn't even as easy as that to fix. It was like, the laptop basically just was like, I've had enough of you. So apologies to yourself and to.
No, don't worry.
Watching.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I saw that Badosa was held serve, but I think it was another tight game.
No, the Badosa's game was fine. It was to love.
What was
it? Game.
Right.
Yeah, it was
sorry.
Fine. You didn't miss much. Just easy Badosa hold, and then Sakkari was pretty similar before that. Just talking about, what was I talking about? I was talking about a match of Badosa's. Oh no!
When I came in, you were talking about. Yeah.
It was about Andriva, I think, just there in the comments from Sean. I'm pretty sure I was going to say for Andriva, a lot of our improvement will be centred around the serve, I think. It's a very good shot, as it is actually for a 16-year-old, 15-year-old. Oh my God. She's got incredible technique. Her knee bend is so deep. She gets a lot of stick out of her wrist. There's loads and loads of action there. She just needs it to be a little bit more consistent. She'll grow, obviously. Her shoulders will get more strong. She'll be able to get a little bit more power behind that shot. As that gets bigger, she'll be a very, very good player because the forehand is incredible. It's so heavy. Like, there's so much spin in that. That's not going to go. That's such a consistent, powerful shot. The backhand's good enough. She came up with some magic on a few big shots, of course, against Hara Maya. It's going to be very interesting to see how she does as she grows. Just watching Sakkari there with a couple of forehands in a row. Speaking of power and strength, that was an incredible one. Always good to see that forehand back behind on clay. That's one of my favourite plays for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on earlier on, Jack, that the forehand may be the avenue that Badosa could seek out because Sakkari was maybe a bit erratic on it. I think that Sakkari tries to hit that many forehands that I think she'll some may be good and some may be bad. I think that's just the way that she is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's also there's a bit of a rhythm issue there, Tom, actually, in that if you keep playing to the Sakkari forehand, you might actually play it into rhythm. Maybe you don't want to do that. Yeah. I mean,
that's a great point. Yeah.
So there's definitely that to think about. Although I do think she's been just a little bit too predictable for a whole set. So yeah, she's got to change it up a little bit. And a little bit more power. Try and raise her level a little bit. I keep talking about the fact that Badosa kind of plays this base level that's high, but it's not as high as other top 10 players. I think she needs to push it a little bit. Great forehand and backhand combo there just to prove a point, flattening out the latter shot a little bit. 40-30 here. Badosa not quite threatening, but it's a big point. Big first serve, not enough to win the point though. They're locked backhand cross. We talked about this earlier. Badosa makes the first change in direction. The first Sakkari forehand that I have been properly blown away by. She's had some good ones, but that was a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, and have you noticed, we mentioned earlier on that Badosa had been keeping it to backhand, and this time she does change it. And exactly what happened is, Sakkari makes her pay, and that's maybe why she hadn't done it earlier in. And she thought she would just try it out here, and what's happened. She's lost out.
I'd have been hiding under my hat as Badosa's coach there had I given her that advice, I gotta say. Because Sakkari stood up to the test for sure.
Yeah.
3-1.
I'm just noticing, in terms of the first serve points won, the both players have won just over 57%, but the telling stat for me is that Sakkari has won 80% of her second serve points, and Badosa's down again at just under 60%. And I just think these figures tell a story in itself, that when it matters and the pressure's on for the second serve, I think you mentioned clutch earlier on when she hit a first serve ace, but these second serves are keeping Sakkari just that nose in front.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Again, it's just about how kicky she gets them compared to Badosa in particular. They're just so unattackable. In fact, they are aggressive. Like, they can set up shots afterwards because it's so hard to do anything when you've got a second serve up high to your backhands. Like, it's so hard to avoid getting burned in the open court. So just such an impressive shot for sure. Very lucky-ish serve there from Badosa at 15 love, or love 15, I should say, just to keep herself in there. That was a second serve plumb on the line, so she gets away with it. 15 all. Big second serve. She doesn't spray it. Locked in a rally now. Again, going backhands cross. Badosa makes the first change in direction again. Sakkari attempting that shot again there, Tom, and just nets it, unfortunately.
Well, again, that just kind of further kind of backs up what I was saying earlier on. Like, Sakkari will be hitting these forehands, and sometimes they'll come off. And this time, I obviously didn't. But she's getting herself, she's manoeuvring herself into that position, and that's where she's been looking to hurt Badosa all match, and more times than not, it's worked.
Yeah, she gets herself in position. You're right. She's such a good mover, and she can transfer her weight. So when she's on the run, she can balance herself so well. Basically, she does give herself a chance. It's just about whether or not she can stop her demons sort of taking over mentally on that shot, basically. But yeah, she's always in position. She's such a great athlete, for sure. 40-15 now, 2 game points for Badosa. Big first serve down the tee. Seals it fairly comfortably. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, really impressed with that serve. I was just, I think we've also overlooked. You saw last night with Davidovich, Fokina, and then obviously Alcaraz. I was just wondering if the home crowd, the Madrid crowd, can maybe try and pick Badosa up and help her through. What's a set and a breakdown. What's your thoughts? Did the home crowd play that bigger part in tennis?
Yeah, they absolutely do. And depending on the context of the match, like for example, last night's match, ADF v Rune, when you get to a third set tiebreak, when you get to that first set tiebreak, the crowd probably did have an impact there. You saw Rune get rattled with a couple of unforced errors coming off his racket. You saw ADF going for maybe balls, just with a little bit more adrenaline in his body. It definitely does impact the match in bigger moments. At a scoreline like 3-2 in the second set, maybe not so much. Until Badosa can do something herself, I think Sakkari, has the opportunity here to roll without being affected by the crowd. Definitely.
Yeah, no, fair enough. As I said, it depends, I suppose, how partisan they are, because you'll get people, back in the heyday of Federer, who'll be coming to Madrid, and the crowd will still be split. Do you know what I mean? So I suppose it just matters how partisan and how popular the player is, I suppose.
Yeah, or conversely, unpopular the player is.
Yeah.
But I don't think Badosa. Badosa obviously not, but Sakkari won't be getting any hate from the crowd, I'd expect. So I don't think that's a factor here for sure.
No, I think Sakkari, she comes across as a very likeable player on tour, very, very popular player on tour. So yeah, I agree with that.
I absolutely don't get when fans don't. I can kind of understand not wanting to watch Sakkari's game. There's a lot of errors a lot of the time. There's a lot of just like grittiness, and I understand maybe why people don't like watching her game, but people kind of taking it as a personal, I guess disliking Sakkari for it doesn't make much sense. She seems like one of the hardest working, most down to earth players I've ever seen in my life. When she said she wanted to be number one, a lot of people sort of snort. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people snorted at it, and I'm like, why not? Somebody with ambition, somebody in the top 10, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, there's Sakkari, obviously a nice volley there. What's your thoughts on the Sakkari volley?
I was talking about it earlier, actually, Tom. I was saying the racket she's got, not good for volleys. Her technique, not good for volleys. Generally, if you can get her forwards, you're in a fairly good position. The opponent's always in a decent position if they've earned their right to get to the net, right? But Sakkari's not going to be as clinical as other players, is all I would say. That was a good, easy high volley, to be honest. There wasn't much technique there. If you can get it low on Sakkari at the net, I would expect her to lose the point 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, well, as I say, I think it was 2 volleys in a row, wasn't it? And the first one she pushed back, and then the second one was, put away. So, it's just not something that I usually associate with Maria Sakkari as a volley or a strong volley game. So,
no, and quite rightly, Tom. It's not something she does often. Her racket's so heavy. and her technique is not the best, that when she does come forward, it becomes very difficult for her to control those really low ones, basically. 30-15, though, again, a couple of great serves, or one great serve, and then that volley point, just fantastic to get her ahead in this game. She is just checking out a first serve at the moment. I thought it looked good, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's in.
We're seeing the challenge now, Tom. I think I'll back that. Pretty sure. In, right?
Yeah.
In. There we go. Good shout. There we go. 40-15. Thought it looked clean as a whistle.
Don't think Paula Badosa is too happy about it. I mean, I think this, this Fox 10, I think this could run and run. In terms of, I think, Ostapenko might have been correct when she says that the technology isn't always right. So I think players are starting to question it, aren't they?
It's interesting because the Fox 10 cameras are going to be pretty much 100% right, where the ball mark actually might not be, which is why a lot of players are getting up in arms about it, because the ball can slide. It doesn't have to be the whole mark where the ball's actually made contact with the ground, because you have to have like a sort of proper impact to leave that. Then there's still a few millimeters this way or that way where the ball is it's not gonna show. I was just gonna say, Tom, there in that situation there with the ball half on the line, to be honest, I think Paula Badosa didn't have much grounds to stand on.
But I mean, any kind of non-tennis fan who comes to the game and watches these clay court events always asks myself, like, why don't they have the what do you mean they don't have like electronic line calls, or what do you mean, like the umpire comes down and he just decides, but as per the mark, and it's just all very confusing. So I mean, I welcome, especially I don't know if the WTA have announced that they'll be using it as much, but I know the ATP did say that from 2025 it's going to be all electronic from now on. So
I saw that.
I'd welcome that, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I like the period that we've had in tennis where we had challenges, etc., because it added that element of drama. But I think the sport's got to move with the times and with the technology that's there.
Yeah, fair. I will say, so when they use Hawkeye on clay on the TV, they basically have the Hawkeye team arrive at the tournament. They'll set up the line calling system specifically for stats. All right. So when
it's nothing to do with the match.
No, nothing to do with the match. So when you see a replay of the ball mark, that is just as inaccurate as they claim it would be on clay anyway. The reason they don't use actual Hawkeye on clay is because the court is like it moves. It's a natural,
of course,
moving surface, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have the lines shifting from here to there, and the clay moving constantly, basically. So when they show that mark on the TV, there's no guarantee that that's an accurate representation of what's happened, right? So they really shouldn't be showing Hawkeye on telly. They shouldn't be using Hawkeye in matches until they can come up with a system that's going to work reliably. Fox 10, I think, does the job, because you can see the line. You get an actual. You don't get a representation of what's happened. You get what's actually happened.
So here's a question then. Would Fox 10, like the attributes of Fox 10, would that transfer on to hardcore tennis at all? Or could it?
They've used it in St. Petersburg, a few other tournaments at the latter stage of last year. Hawkeye uses 6 cameras to estimate where the ball would be. So it's not an actual representation.
And this is a real thing. Yeah.
It's like it's just like basically Fox 10 is just a very, very, very
slowed down camera.
Yeah, a very high frame rate camera. Basically, that's it.
Got you. Nice one.
Yeah. So when players get up in arms about it, I'm just like, well, it has hit the line. So I don't know what you're on about, mate. 40-15, huge serve from Badosa to go game. She's doing well to keep herself in this, but Sakkari's not been bothered on serve since that second game of the first set, Tom.
No, I mean, I don't think has she faced a break point. I think she's faced one break point in the second set. Am I right?
Oh, has she? Actually, I can't even remember that she has. I might be wrong.
So I'm just trying to check the. Do you know what? I'm looking at the WTA website, and I was on match and not set 2, so I stand corrected, Jack. So no, she hasn't. She's not faced a break point, and Badosa has obviously only saved one of the 2 that she's faced.
Yeah, of course, 'cause she had that one great point she had to save at the end of the first set as well, right? So she had the 2 games she was troubled in the first set,
Yeah.
but since those 2, she's been fine. Second serve's been pretty easy sailing, right? Smooth sailing.
Yeah, and a big game coming up. I always think when you're watching a tennis match and it's tight that just getting to the edge is always a big thing as well. So I think getting to 5-3 is going to be a huge step. Where if Badosa can break now, then she serves it out, and then the pressure's all on Sakkari to not let that slip the set slip by her. So I think this game coming up is going to be a big one.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I don't know when the Sakkari mind starts to wander a little bit. Maybe it'll be this game, maybe it'll be the next one, but it's not a Sakkari match without a little bit of a wobble. So I'd be surprised. Maybe we've had that wobble. We had it in the first set, of course, when she went to serve it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, Jack. Watching this game today, I do think she's looked dialed in. She has looked dialed in. But like you mentioned earlier on, it's very rare that Sakkari doesn't play a match that doesn't go to 3 sets. So we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see, exactly. Just looking up the last time that Sakkari, and I will find it in a second, but once I get it, I'll tell you. The last time Sakkari didn't get broken in a match. How long ago was that? Because at the moment, it's not awful actually. So the last time she didn't get broken was against Caroline Garcia in Doha earlier, not that long ago. That was like in February, and she
and that's a surprise as well, because I mean I know Garcia's not had the best start to the year, but Garcia's a solid player who's great at returning. So I'm shocked at that, if I'm being honest with you, Jack.
Well, did you know I've got an interesting stat for that one, Tom? Actually, Garcia gets the sort of reputation of being a good returner, but actually statistically she is the worst returner in the top 50.
No way.
I know you expect her to be great because she's had amazing return games where against Fontex she was incredible. She was taking the ball so early, but she takes the ball that early, she makes so many errors in some matches. She has matches basically where she just flies on serve and she doesn't make an impact on return at all. So
it's one of those ones that the stats tell a different story than what you can maybe sometimes see. Yeah,
absolutely, exactly. Because I was in exactly the same boat as you. And by the way, Sakkari did end up winning that in a third set tiebreak, so it was hardly comfortable, even though she didn't get broken.
Yeah.
And there you go as well against Vekic and Linz as well. 6 of 6, or Gracheva, sorry, I should say. 6 of 6 break points saved. She's had a couple of matches this year where she's not been broken. So she does have days like this where she just dials it in.
And it was a great. I don't know. Just when we were chatting there, did you notice what a great drop shot she's just hit against Badosa to get herself up in front again?
Am I back? I think I'm back. I'm just checking that. I was going to rewind to check out the drop shot there. Tell me what.
Did you get it?
I'm just getting it now. I think it's a first serve and forehand, and then now no, I've missed it. I'll find it.
All right, no, it's okay. It's okay. No, it was lovely, basically, and it was that good that Badosa didn't even try and get it. She just kind of stopped straight away and just was like too good.
Oh, saw it there. Yeah, saw it there. Yeah, it was off the forehand as well.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, love the fake there. That's one way to stop yourself playing a forehand too, by the way. If you're not 100% on it. Although she's been fine in this game so far. 30 all though. Just a couple of mistakes. And Badosa with half a chance. Interesting to see where she serves here.
Out wide. I think you'd mentioned it earlier on. She's been going out wide.
She did. Tom, there you go. She did. You were right.
Yep.
But she missed. So second serve. I think possibly getting something from the umpire there. No, it was just to quiet the crowd down. So we are on second serve still. Here we go. Sakkari second serve down the tee. Great to set up a forehand. She's bossing the point slightly with the forehand. Backhand now, the more reliable. Badosa on the back foot. It's enough to win the point. Yeah, she was in offense for the entirety of that point there. Great point.
Yeah, dictating it, and as I said to you, that she's looked dialed into me, dominating the points. I think she's came into this match saying that she doesn't want to let Badosa get on top of her, so she's going to basically dictate whether or not she wins or loses, and that's what she's been showing for the majority of this match up until now.
Yep, it's getting a 8 out of 10 performance for me. Tom, if she can close it out. But this is the question, of course, isn't it? Can she close it out? I won't count my chickens yet.
Yeah, well, I think you're predicting a wobble. So we'll wait and see. I mean, to be honest, if a wobble does come, I haven't got enough confidence in Badosa right now, especially the Badosa of 2023. If I've been honest with you, that would basically take the chances when they're handed to her. So yeah, we'll see if the wobble comes. It might come in the form of a couple of double faults and maybe a couple of long balls. But again, will Badosa take her chance?
Absolutely, yeah. It'll be interesting to see, Tom. If Badosa can get through this service game, I would honestly not mind her going big and loopy down the middle.
Just hitting it, swinging the arm.
Yeah, making Sakkari basically play all the offense, give her balls that are tough to hit, or give her balls that are tough to attack on, I should say. Not going for any risk, just saying, can you come up with something special, basically?
Well, I think she's already thinking how we're speaking, because I don't know if you're there yet, but she's just an absolute blinder of a backhand down the line, which, Sakkari just, was like too good. I'm not going for that one.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It's not really, I was thinking go safer, go way safer than that. But get through the service game first, hit forehand, backhand down the line winners, whatever. Then I would say make Sakkari play the nervy shots that she's not comfortable playing in the time moments. Great backhand down the line, though. Fantastic. Yeah. And another forehand winner as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's two points in the game and 2 winners. She knows it's now or never.
She's having a few cuts at the ball for sure. 30 love. This is where the crowd could become a factor. Maybe. Get the crowd a little bit hyped up with a few flashy shots. Get Sakkari's nerves jangling a wee bit, serving for the match. I remember one last year. Was that last year? Must have been 2 years ago, maybe, where she played Jabeur. She was 6-2, 5-1 up, Sakkari.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that's the one I was referencing earlier on, that.
So it was. Yeah.
And so, I remember it well. And again, that was a big feature, I think, of in Netflix, in the Breakpoint Netflix series about the kind of mental turmoil that even Sakkari was going through about that game.
Yeah, wow, geez, just trying to remember when it was now. Just got it up on the stats there. Where is it? There we go. In Rome. Was it only Rome last year? Wasn't even a year ago.
That's it. Rome.
6-1-5-1, I should say. Sorry, it wasn't 6-2-5-1. It was 6-1-5-1. So she was completely sailing, and then I don't know what happened. I remember just thinking this is some of the grimmest tennis I've seen.
It was hard to watch, wasn't it? It was one of those ones that sometimes you're like, can't watch this for this poor person anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez, there was one like that recently. What was it on the men's side? I'm struggling to remember now. It'll come back to me. Badosa, by the way, with 2 game points, doesn't quite come up with the flashy shot of the match. 40-30 now. Maybe just going for a little too much there. That honestly could be a factor, Tom. She might be trying to get the crowd totally on her side going into the final game of the match. Just to make Sakkari doubt herself a little bit.
She needs a strong serve.
Absolutely, yep. Here we go. I've remembered that match. I'll just talk about it in a second. As Sakkari's forehand return goes long. Yeah, the match I was thinking of, Tom, was Botic van de Zandschulp's final against Holger Rune a few weeks ago. I don't know if you got to see that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. That was tough watch. At the end there.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so tough to watch. 4 match points.
That was another one. We ended last year thinking, and not to take it away from a vital part of the match, but we ended last year thinking Rune was going to be the kind of main kind of foil for Alcaraz going forward. I've got to be honest, I've not been as, I know he's won titles, I know he's got to finals, but just with Rune, I've just not been as impressed. I remember watching Paris last year and thinking this guy's the real deal. But I've got to be honest, I know he's played some good tennis and he is very young, but just something about I don't know. I'm not sure about Rune right now.
There's a physical.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, there's a physical factor there, Tom, for sure. Monte Carlo and Munich showing that he can sort of have to run on fumes sometimes, and he can do it, but his tennis definitely takes a dip at that point. He just doesn't defend as well.
You've got to ask yourself, would Alcaraz have found himself in that situation? Do you know what I mean? In that final? And the answer's probably not, because he just obliterates most. But anyway, so take it back to the match in question. Big game coming up, serving for the match. Maria Sakkari to take it straight sets if she does it.
Yeah, here we go, Sakkari. As we did discuss earlier, a match against Arina Begu in the next round, if she does come through this, it's hardly, it's not a gimme, but it's one of the easier WTA 1000 quarterfinals you could ask for. So this is a great opportunity if she can close out the match. Interesting to see where she goes in the first one. Does she rely on her strength and go out wide, where you would be most likely to get a forehand as the next shot? Or does she play it a little safer with a tee serve? I think safe, but we'll see. She does, but she misses it. Second serve. This is where it could get a bit jangly. You don't expect her to miss the second serve, but the forehand could be weak. Here we go. Straight to the forehand. Sakkari's forehand, cross court, and another in a row. She does two lovely ones in a row. She's got a backhand now. She won't miss off that. Yeah, well played.
Nice backhand winner there.
Yeah, and the forehands were great there. Great mental strength from Sakkari.
I was just thinking, to me, I've been watching this game and I think there seems to be a lot of not a lot of first serves getting into court. So I was just checking out the stats. So for the match, for first serves in, Sakkari's been 67.9%. And Badosa has been 57.9%. Of first serves in. Because for me, a lot of the time we're looking at second serves, and that'll be why.
By the way, incredible serve from Sakkari there, right on cue. That was a kick serve ace out wide. Fantastic. You just don't see those happen often at all on the WTA tour. So very, very impressive. And another great serve out wide to bring up 3 match points.
My timing's been impeccable. They're talking about the serve.
I know, love it. Oh, amazing, honestly. This has been a fantastic match for Sakkari. Loads and loads of tidy stuff. The forehand was always going to be a little ropey in some moments, but overall it's been fantastic. The serving's just been so good. And the forehand, just there, first point of the match, she needs to serve out. Fantastic. So I can't fault her too much, really. 3 match points, surely.
Some big shouting if she wins it. She'll be happy, obviously, but I think this will mean a lot because she knows how important it'll be.
I don't think she'll be thinking about the next match necessarily, but yeah, she will be thinking this is a pretty big match to win. She's done it. There you go. Ecstatic. Well, ecstasy towards the camp there. Second serve. Maybe she's just ecstatic about a straight sets win as well. That's all I'm
an early bath. Just sit back and relax and watch the rest of the evening tennis. But she was the stronger player throughout. It emerged late in the first set that she took her chances. I mentioned she was ruthless. Some unforced errors on the forehand, but some winners on the forehand as well. And I just thought she was the better player today. And just the run of Badosa has been good recently. In April, especially, she's had most of her wins this year. But in Sakkari, she's came up against a player who's just been there and won't get pushed around.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a very polished performance. If she can come up with that week in, week out, she does. She does make deep runs in tournaments. I don't know why I'm saying that. That's not the goal at the end of the day, I guess, Thomas, to actually win the title, right? So she's put herself in a good position to win the quarters for sure. A Sabalenka Sakkari semi-final possibly on the cards.
Yeah, I mean Sabalenka, you'd say right now on paper far too strong. And again, especially after the year she's had, and she's a past winner. But to be honest, I'd love it if Sakkari did, get at least to the final. And it'd be obviously the biggest winner of her career if she saw it out and if she was the winner next Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it's a big ask for sure, and I don't know how many players she beats that are left in the draw in the final with the sort of mental record we've seen from her in finals. I honestly don't think it goes that far though. I think Sabalenka, way too much at the moment. We saw her in Indian Wells beating Sakkari 6-2, 6-3. Of course, that was fairly one-sided, and that wasn't much to do with Sakkari, to be honest. That was just Sabalenka playing an absolute blinder. It'll be interesting. There are a few factors, and if we do get there, I'll be happy to talk about them at the time, that could go in Sakkari's favour over Sabalenka's, but she's still the fairly heavy favourite for me if it does go that far. Okay, Tom, yeah, we can close out there. I can't think of too much else to say. Maybe I'll just recap everything else we were saying there. Sakkari's serving absolutely fantastic, both first and second serves. That should be a constant for the rest of the tournament. She hadn't had a deep run at one of these altitude. Well, she did at Guadalajara, but she hadn't had a deep run in Madrid before. I think this should be her first one for sure, if we don't already count her quarter as a deep run. Badosa, great to see her back to close to top 10 tennis. However, just not quite enough there to consistently pressurize Sakkari compared to a player like compared to a player like Sabalenka, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see if she can maintain that for the rest of the clay court season, Tom.
Yeah, no, and something that's it's going to be intriguing next few days on both sides of the tour, I think realistically we're all maybe looking for a Swiatek Sabalenka blockbuster final, but if it doesn't happen, I'm sure we're going to have some twists and turns yet.
Absolutely, Tom. There'll be a good final either way, but I absolutely agree. I want to see a Sabalenka-Swiatek final in Madrid, where it should be a touch closer than it was in Stuttgart. Although it was fantastic in Stuttgart. Honestly, 4-3 is a disservice to how well Sabalenka played that day. So I think it'll be a fantastic match if we do get it. I think I will close up shop there, Tom. Do you want to just give everybody your Twitter quickly if you do have one, or any sort of media stuff?
Yeah, no, just my Twitter is my main one I'm using at the moment, and it's just at Tom Grant Journal. So I don't know if journal came across in my thick Glasgow tongue, but JOURNO. And yeah, give us a follow. I often tweet about tennis and just what's happening. But yeah, no, thanks very much, Jack, for inviting me along. You've been nice and easy on me in terms of my first time. So I look forward to doing it again one day with you soon.
Yeah, no worries, Tom. Pleasure to have you on, and lovely to meet you. For everybody else in the audience there, feel free to follow myself as well at @ontheline_Jack. I'm on YouTube as well. On the Line Tennis Podcast should do the job if you want to shoot us a subscribe. And of course, to Talking Tennis, John Silk. Thank you very much for having us. I'm sure he would be happy if you could give him a little subscribe. As he said there, he's very close to 2,000 subscribers. Why not help him out? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow the guys on Twitter, us on Twitter, I should say, as John is saying there. I'm going to sign off now, Tom. Thank you very much for coming on. Hope you enjoyed it.
Good man. Thanks very much, Jack. Enjoyed that. All right.
Cheers, Tom. And thank you very much. This has been Talking Tennis. We'll catch you very soon. Thank you.